Adam Morrison here. When it comes to top-tier contracting, my go-to choice is McGillivray Environmental. They're not just any contractor, they're the best in Spokane and North Idaho. With years of experience, they handle it all. New construction, meticulous repairs, and asphalt overlays. From start to finish, they ensure your project is completed with the highest quality end results. And here's the scoop for this year. McGillivray Environmental has expanded its services to include asphalt paving. That means top-notch commercial parking lots, residential driveways, and road construction. So, ready to kickstart your project? By calling 208-556-6384 for your free estimate. Don't forget to mention my name, Adam from the Perimeter, and experience the difference that McGillivray Environmental brings to the table. Again, that's 208-556-6384, McGillivray Environmental. My number one choice for all my contracting needs.
HDG Architecture is proud to be a sponsor of The Perimeter with Adam Morrison. There is another podcast that you all should be listening to, and it's called If Not Now, When? This podcast, which Josh Hassong of HDG Architecture hosts, has a clear mission to ignite positive change within the Spokane community. On the podcast, Josh brings together diverse individuals from city officials, business owners, journalists, influencers, and big thinkers to have meaningful conversations about what we can do to help transform downtown Spokane into an even more vibrant and robust community. By talking to these movers and shakers, the podcast aims to inspire and empower its listeners by actively shaping their city's future. You can find the If Not Now When podcast wherever you are listening to The Perimeter at, or you can find it in the description of this episode.
Welcome to The Perimeter, Season 3, Episode 6, presented by McGillivray Environmental. I got Brendan, the producer, here. I'm going to talk about one of our favorite tournaments, Maui Invitational, coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Obviously, it's going to be in Honolulu this year. We know about the tragedy that happened. It's great that they're still having it in Hawaii. Really excited for me personally. Obviously, I played in it, had a really good breakout tournament, kind of put me on the national scene. Gonzaga won it the last time I called that. They beat Duke with the Zion Williams, and I think they beat, who was it, that tournament? They beat an SEC team as well. Like, it was a really balanced tournament. And then, you know, a lot of good memories just out of the court being in Hawaii. Obviously, I took my daughters there the last tournament when I was calling games, and they were obviously, it was 5 years ago, so they were a lot younger, and they still talk about it. I'm taking my son and my middle daughter. My oldest has got to stay back playing basketball to this one, so very excited for that. You know, and then I mentioned my own success there, so there's a lot of good memories. It's going to be interesting playing it in a different venue. Hopefully the atmosphere is similar because the one in Lahaina is fantastic. Like, that's part of the tournament. It's, you know, like playing in a high school rivalry game every single time, packed, crowds chanting. Like, it's just really cool, really neat. But again, very excited to leave this Saturday. So the games are on Monday. We'll have the preview out. Purdue, big time matchup. Number 2 in the country, Zach Edey, Player of the Year, returned, which was kind of, it wasn't really shocking. I think he probably got some advice on how to improve his NBA stock and decided to come back. I think in years past have been automatic. He goes, and, you know, just different game now.
I think this is a good example of like NIL, like working in the NCAA's favor.
Yeah, it's true. It's keeping guys around and making more excitement for, you know, teams that instead of always breaking up or you know, not having any continuity. Played them last year in the PK 85 and absolutely got our butts kicked really bad. I think he had 23 or 25 in that game, was super efficient. Really bad matchup for Drew Timme last year. Julian Strother played terrible. Nolan Hickman played okay. Ben Gregg was the only one I could remember that had a good game, kind of solidified himself into the lineup. They didn't like Efton Reed in that game, and they put Ben in, and remember he had those hustle plays and made a couple threes, and it kind of allowed him to play that third big spot last year and play those spot minutes. I'm curious to see how we attack, Zach Edey from a defensive standpoint. Graham Ike is going to have to be huge defensively against him. And then obviously Anton can maybe guard him. But he's like 7'4", man. He's so big. And then Braden Huff, I think, is going to have to match up with him. Ben Gregg can a little bit. But thinking back to that game last year, I know everybody's, Zach Edey killed us. Like, he was super efficient, but he only had 23. It was their 2 freshman guards who are now sophomores last year that killed us, kind of controlled the pace of that game, if my memory serves. Like I said, Julian Strother played terrible. I don't think Nolan played good in that game. Rasheer didn't play good. So, like, if to me, it was the pace of the backcourt and how they controlled the pace, and they made our guards play on their heels, really was the difference for me. Now, doesn't mean we can completely forget Zach Edey's, dominance and how we defend him. But I truly believe that once you see an entity like him that you can't really practice for, but once you've seen it once and you played it a second time, you have a better game plan, obviously. And that's not like a hot take. Doesn't mean we're going to shut him out. I don't want anybody to clip it from the Purdue basketball website or whatever they have over there, right? But I think that we should have a better game plan than we did in Portland, because we've seen it just on familiarity.
Yeah.
Still going to be a tough matchup, because he's really good at angle baskets. He can go left or right shoulder on his jump hooks. They throw it to him on angles all the time. They high-low flash, so if you front, they obviously throw it over the top. He moves better than he looks. I know that sounds funny, but like, he's 7'4", so that's a real thing. And you see him, you're like, well, he actually moves his feet really good. And he makes free throws for the most part. And he's obviously a good rim protector just based on his size. Obviously, it goes without saying, we have to run him as much as we can or put him in ball screen actions, but they know that. They're used to that, so they're just going to plug with him and probably go over the top in all ball screen actions. So we have to be successful in that. Obviously, this is not a crazy, like, schematic thing. Get him in foul trouble would help. And then, like I said, just run, and make the game as fast as possible. Would serve us better against him. But I think it's a fantastic matchup. I think it's great for Maui. And then I think it's great for us to have an opportunity to face an opponent the very next year with basically the same personnel that they had, with familiarity, and we get a chance to kind of redeem ourselves and have a good, a better showing at least. So I'm looking forward to that first one. What's your thoughts on it?
I was going to say, I was looking at the stats from last year. They out-rebounded us by 15. They had 46 rebounds. We had 31.
Yeah.
So that has to change.
100%.
And, I mean, everything else in the box score is, like, pretty similar. Like 40. They had a higher field goal percentage, like 47% to our 40. But
holding us to 40 is a tremendous feat.
Yeah.
We played terrible that game. What was Julian's line?
Julian's line was he had 10 rebounds and 4 points.
Yeah, I remember he played terrible. Then what was like our guards? Nolan and Rasheer.
Nolan had 5 assists, 15 points. Rasheer had 3 assists, 11 points.
But would they shoot?
They don't have like the.
Oh, they don't have the. Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I just remember it was a close half. Like it was 28-33 at half, but I think we made a little bit of a run at the end to close that gap.
Yeah, it was one of those where we're like, oh my God, we're only down 5.
Yeah.
And we're playing terrible. So it was like, yay. It was bad. But it was credit to them. Like, they punched us in the mouth, they pushed us in the back, and, controlled the glass. So again, we're going to be excited about that game, and we're going to have a better game plan. And I guarantee our guys are going to be on, high alert, especially on the glass, to try to win that battle. So it's a fantastic opening matchup for us. Games Monday, I think, at 2 p.m. Eastern. 5
p.m. Pacific, and then 12 p.m. local time.
Local, okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be an interesting time for actually, no, that's fine. I'm thinking of the opposite of
Yeah.
going to the East Coast. So yeah, it'll be fine. Which is actually you have to kind of consider that 'cause when you play in that tournament, you play 3 games in a row, win or lose. You have to consider conditioning. You have to consider hydration, and then the time change is different, especially for the East Coast, going all the way and losing 8 hours. Like your body clock can get messed up or whatever. So those things are kind of a nagging force, the only one for that type of tournament.
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
You're feeding it.
I will, I promise. Thanks to our Premier Rewards Visa credit card from ICCU, we earned enough cash back to stock up on puppy supplies.
But we don't have a puppy.
They're very convincing children.
Second round. All right, hopefully we win, but we get either Tennessee, who's ranked number 7, or Syracuse, who has a new coach. Obviously a traditional power, blue blood. So either way, win or lose, we're going to play somebody that has a great chance to make the NCAA tournament, which is good. I obviously prefer to play Tennessee just because of the matchup. It'd be fun. Tennessee killed us last year in that. Remember that pay-per-view game thing? That weird deal that they did.
I don't remember because I didn't watch it, but I remember the box score.
Yeah, I remember. I tuned in too, and I was like, "This is just weird. This is an exhibition, but we're paying." I didn't understand it
Because you didn't call the game, right?
No,
yeah.
no, I had something going on, and so I stayed home. I think it was my daughter was playing or something like that.
Yeah.
So I stayed back, and Huddy called it, but he was on TV as well. So it was weird too. So I was kind of happy. It's like, dude, I'm not made for TV. I'm glad I would sit down there. Like I would like, no. So yeah. Anyway, playing Tennessee would be familiarity. I think, we could play with their pace. I don't think they'd like to play as fast as us, but it's similar. So it wouldn't be like playing a Purdue, like Big Ten, shove you in the back, 65 to 60 type game. I don't think those suit us as well as, up and down and playing with pace. And then Syracuse would be interesting just because it's a new coach, and are they going to run the 2-3 zone still? And you know what I mean? It's like a whole different era. Jim Boeheim was there, I think, 35 years, something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
And they have tournament aspirations. So either way, I think, it'll be nice to have that type of game in the back pocket, just in case. And then on the other side of the bracket, Kansas, UCLA, Marquette. Who am I blanking on here?
You said Chaminade?
And not Chaminade. Yeah,
Kansas. On the other side of the bracket, it's Kansas versus Chaminade, UCLA versus Marquette.
Marquette, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kansas, UCLA, Marquette. Okay, yeah, that's Chaminade. That's the one. So yeah, if you get to the championship year, they're probably going to play Kansas. Marquette's good this year as well. I think UCLA's down, and that's not just me saying that because of the history, but I think they're just down. But they're still good and still well coached. So it'll be fun for us to, head to that tournament and play these high level games. CBS ranks the Maui Invitational as the number 1 in season tournament. And, every year it's the greatest field we've ever had. You always kind of laugh, but sometimes this one is considered one of the best fields they've ever had. Honestly, if you look at the rankings, Kansas, number 1 and number 2, number 7 in Tennessee, and then we're 11.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And then UCLA is obviously a blue blood, so like that is a lot of. What's Marquette ranked? Do you know?
I can find it real quick.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of blue blood, programs. So it's gonna be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm looking forward to it for our guys. It's cool for them to experience it. There's a lot of cool things that you're allowed to do, and then. You just got to be on the beach and stuff. And I know that sounds funny, but like Coach Fee does a good job of letting these guys have practice and stuff. And then, gives them some freedom to go be kids in a responsible way. But like, hey, go to the beach and go have a good time, instead of always locking them down and stuff like that.
I should have included Marquette in the notes. Marquette is ranked number 4th in the nation.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's a stacked field. Like it's
Yeah.
whoever we get to play, like hopefully we get to go through the gauntlet and get to play all the top ranked opponents and get to play Kansas for that game. But even if we do, happen to, lose, this first game or the second game, we're still going to get some good matchups.
Yeah. You just, it's not a knock, but you don't want to play Chaminade.
Yeah.
You just want 3 of those games to be against teams that most likely will make the NCAA tournament. And if you can get 2 wins, and obviously you want to win 3 to win the whole thing, but if you can get at least 2, it's going to help your tournament resume. And if you lose that one, maybe if you lose it close, it still helps you, in theory. So yeah, great tournament, great field. I'm looking forward to calling it. I think the fans are obviously looking forward to watching it. We've had great success there as a crew, or we've had good tournaments. My crew lost in the championship game on buzzer beater to UConn. Obviously, we beat Michigan State. Everybody still talks about the game. They beat Maryland. The years before, Blake Stepp's crew had a good run. I think they won 2 games, lost one of them. And then one of the years, he always calls it the Kyle Dranginis game. They lost the first game to like Dayton or something like that. And then they played Chaminade, and Kyle Dranginis had like 38. And he always calls that the Kyle Dranginis Maui Invitational game. I don't know why. But, and then obviously last allowed 5 years ago with the Zion, which I think was our best team ever, was Kispert, BC, Rui, all those guys.
Was that that was the first time we'd ever beat Duke, I believe.
I think that was first time, and then that team was like, Zion, and then RJ Barrett, and then, it's like they can't be beat, and we beat them, and it was just a fantastic game, really fun to call. That was a great tournament too. I can't remember who we played in the second round. It was a tough game too. In the second round, we played in that where we were on the ropes. We played somebody that like pressed us and did weird something. I can't remember who. Look up who we played that tournament. It was the 2000 either 18 or 17 Maui Invitational, just Gonzaga's Maui Invitational.
Was it the year we beat Duke?
Yes.
Okay. We played. Oh man, we played against Illinois in the first round. Then we played Arizona in the second round, and then Duke in the championship.
So there's the Illinois game that was really weird. That's my memory serves. They pressed and they did like a weird 1-3 zone that we weren't, something like, or a half court trap that we haven't seen, like you haven't seen since high school.
Right.
Weren't prepared for, like, oh my God, and found our way through. It was an ugly win, quote unquote, for that type of team, but that was a great tournament. So I'm really looking forward to it. I like our chances. Obviously, I think we have the right pieces to win, but it's one of those tournaments where you just got to go out and ball. You just got to go play. Yeah. And like I said, it's 3 games in a row, so you got to make sure you're hydrated and ready to go. But it's kind of like going back to playing AAU tournaments. It's fun. You scout on the fly, and it gives you kind of a preview to what the NCAA tournament would be like. Obviously, you don't play them in the row, but you play short porch scout, and so you got to be able to turn around and execute a game plan and really hammer down who you might play. Obviously, they'll have a breakdown already of Tennessee and Syracuse, right? Yeah, and then they'll have film on the other teams as well. So.
I was gonna, in regards to like the atmosphere at the tournament, they're playing in the Stan Sheriff Center in Honolulu, so and it seats 10,000, so it's gonna be a lot different than the Lahaina Convention Center where they usually play. But yeah, no, it's gonna be. I was gonna ask you, like, what do you think Gonzaga stands to learn the most from this run in this tournament? Like, is this gonna be a tournament where when we get out of it, we're going to know who this team is?
It's a very good point. Yeah, I think lineups will be solidified. We'll find out, if Braden Huff can continue to play well and be productive. We'll find out. Same thing with Graham Ike. Yeah, you're going to play some big-time bigs, some big-time programs, and this is why you transferred in, is to play in these type of tournaments and games. Yeah. You know, and then the backcourt's got to play good. And I know that sounds no duh, but it's like these are all new faces, so it's going to be that's an ongoing question throughout the year, I think. But against, you know, potentially obviously number 2, potentially number 7, and then potentially number 1 and number 4.
Yeah.
If you get all the way championship, assuming, you can find out a lot about your team. So I'm curious to see how we do. I think we're ready for it, but it's a legitimate question too of playing a big game yet with this crew. So we're going to see it pretty soon.
When you went down there for your run, like what's it like going to Hawaii over like Thanksgiving break and like preparing for a tournament like this?
Yeah, it's I mean, as a young athlete, I think you could play anywhere, right? So I think that's not a bad thing. I don't know. I didn't view it as anything other than just like, hey, we're gonna get to play in a cool place, and it's warm out. That was about it.
That's about it. Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times too, though, like you're in your room a lot, and they do a lot of things to keep you from not having a lot of downtime. And I know I just mentioned, but they'll let you like, all right, you guys can go hang out for like 2 hours, but we're going to be on the beach with you.
Okay.
You know, like bring the strength coach. Let's throw the football around and have a good time. But like you're in your, you're in your room. You're going to film sessions. You're going to team dinners.
Yeah.
So you do enjoy it, but it's not like you're, have a cocktail with an umbrella. And
it's not like you're going on vacation. You're like, it's like a...
Yeah, exactly. It's a business trip. And I've said that on previous episodes and previous seasons. Coach V always says that, and it's true with this. It's a business trip. You know, for us guys calling the games and stuff, it's awesome because I can have cocktails all I want and then just show up to the game. And, that's all that matters for all the support staff. So it's cool for us.
Yeah.
But I don't think it changes your mindset any more than any other tournament, in my opinion.
What are you hoping to do when you're going to go relax on the beach? Like,
I'm going to do a lot of beach time. I'm bringing a volleyball and a football, going to deflate them and then bring in the suitcase. So I'll be throwing them with my son and daughter and vice versa. She likes volleyball. He likes football. I'm just hanging out on the beach. Probably going to do the Pearl Harbor deal.
Yeah.
Have never been to that. So looking forward to that. Maybe I did helicopter ride last time. It was a lot of fun. Those things are so expensive though, man. Yeah. It was like $950 for 3 of us.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it's like one of those deals. You're just like, whatever, But you're just, when you get done, you're like, man, that was a lot of coin. It's a cool experience, but you're like, man, that was expensive. So yeah, something like that. But I'm just happy to, bring my kids, and my son has never gone. Obviously, my middle daughter's lucky. She's gone to. This will be your second Maui and Bahamas.
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm like you're the perfect age where you can miss you can miss volleyball. She's only 12. You know what I mean? It's not like high school yet. My oldest daughter's a little bit upset, but she's varsity athlete, so he's can't miss.
Totally.
So yeah, a lot of chilling, and hopefully it's sunny. I've seen the forecast looks decent, so hopefully it holds. You
can't really trust the weather when you go down to Hawaii. I always feel like you see it and like it's like it says it's cloudy and you're like, but then the weather changes there so quickly.
As long as it's not raining, I don't. Yeah, it could be overcast. It'll be like 70 and still overcast. So like, who cares? That's how I always view it. Like, you can't have it perfect. Obviously, I want sunny and blue. But if it's not raining, like, it's still better in Spokane right now.
Right? Yeah, so it's going to be like 40 degrees here next week.
Yeah. So I'm fine with it.
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, it's Olive. I just got my first ICCU debit card. Now I just need some money in my account. If only there was someone who could transfer in some allowance.
Wow.
I do have a couple of questions from our listeners. Who on the team right now has the most NBA skill level and athleticism?
It's a very good question. I think the guy who has the best chance to be a league guy. So I think Nolan and Ryan could be backup point guards in the NBA. Like not right now, but could, like Andrew did. Okay, that's not a knock, but like could figure out how to be, NBA type point guards. As funny as it sounds, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I think Anton Watson has the best chance of being like a do everything 3-and-D type of guy in the NBA.
Yeah.
If he was like in a little bit better shape, and he can get to that. I'm not saying he's out of shape, but I'm like NBA ready shape.
Right.
And he committed himself to being like a knockdown shooter, and then he can be like a glue guy. There's spots in the NBA for people his size and his ability to guard multiple positions.
Yeah.
There's guys in the NBA that do it, and they make rosters. So I really think Anton is that guy.
Yeah.
And I think coming back for an extra year helped that decision, and I think he has a legitimate chance to do that. He has to obviously improve on some certain areas, but like if he can become a knockdown three shooter, especially like corner threes, and then really commit himself to his body and like being more twitchy and like a little bit better shape, NBA shape, there's a difference. He has a chance. I really believe that. And they probably told him that when he went to that, to the pre-draft stuff. Like, hey, you're almost there, but you need to show us this. Or he would have left.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Anton's a prime candidate. Obviously, Graham and Braden Huff have that opportunity chance. I just haven't seen enough yet. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're Domus where you're like, I mean, when I first saw Domus when I was GA and being a coach there, like, I remember like the third play I saw him, he caught a rebound, dribbled it down left hand. Obviously, he's a lefty, but went behind his back and like dunked it in like a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drill or something like that. I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was like, oh my God. And it was like fluid and it's like, but like, wham, like there's an NBA guy. Just like, and he was a fresh, he's just a young freshman, like, there he is,
Yeah.
So, those guys legitimately have a chance, and that's not me just fluffing it up just to make it sound good because they're Gonzaga players. But I think Anton has a legitimate opportunity if he, commits himself and has a good year.
Yeah. I totally agree. When I saw Graham Mike for the first time in person last week, I was like, he looks like he could be like looks like he has the body of an NBA player, but like you said, still need to see more.
Got to see more,
Yeah.
and obviously having a great year 2 years ago at Wyoming, puts him on the radar. So he's just got to have a good year and be healthy.
That question came from Scott Langhans, so I wanted to give him credit. This one's a question for you, Adam. Is what was your biggest learning curve going from high school basketball to Gonzaga?
Being able to move without the ball. I used to, in high school, you can just kind of go grab it and then just go score whenever you want, or not whenever you want, but you're just better than most of the players because it's high school.
Yeah.
Learning to move without the ball and not. They used to call it ball begging. I used to be a ball beggar, like pass it and kind of like make guys throw it to me.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing for me. I never knew how to come off screens. I never knew how to set guys up. I never had to do slow to fast. Like I got away with it in high school because it was better. I had to really work on that, understand spacing and, taking your time and pushing off and all those little intricacies of coming off screens when I got to Gonzaga. And that's when we were still running like flex. So there was a lot of down screens and wide pin downs.
Yeah.
So it was a major part of the offense. And then obviously my sophomore and junior years, I got a lot of plays ran for me or actions.
Yeah.
Because I, was either getting face guarded or and I was scoring at a high clip. But I did not know how to do that when I first got there. It was a hard thing to learn.
That's crazy to think about because, like, when I think of your junior year, like, I always remember you coming through screens and always, like, kind of getting fouls from coming through screens from the other, like, on moving screens and stuff like that because you were so good at creating contact and that's crazy that you had to learn that.
Yeah, it was a big deal with. I remember Billy Greer. He would always get on me about it my freshman year, and he was, he would just yell at me, but he was right. He's like, you can't just always go run up and ask for the ball. Like, it's just not realistic. There's other good players on the team, get the hell out of the way, or like beef space so you get the shot. And so he was my individual coach. He was the guards coach. We would do a lot of pop-ups and coming off screens, and he was always preaching slow to fast. And then you should get to your spot within 3 steps, and then right when the ball hits your hands, it's gone.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest learning curve for me. Obviously, strength. I could be easy, so strength, and
right.
of course, stuff that stuff does account. But that part of the game was foreign to me.
That came from Bud. 1885. And the last question I have, and it's kind of another one about you, and I need to watch more of Dusty Stromer now, apparently, and you as well. Do you think Dusty Stromer looks like you as he runs around out there?
I think he's more athletic. And he's probably better looking, so no, I don't. I could see from afar, long hair, similar build, tall and lanky. I guess I don't know. It doesn't come to my mind. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
It's always funny when people like, because like it's weird in today's world where like you watch like all the young kids are coming up, like they don't really know who you are as a basketball player.
No clue, which it is funny. It's just the radio guy.
But then all the old fans, like they all remember and they all love it, and I think that's like kind of keeps it in. I love the new intro video with like it's kind of like goes from like the beginning of Gonzaga's run in 1998 to like today, and like having like your moments in there and all the other like Kelly Olynyk, like it's cool to see the progression and like going back to those to the roots, because it is because Mark Few's 25th year as coach.
It's the 25th the anniversary of the Elite Eight run.
Oh yeah,
98-99 is this year.
Wow.
So I think they're going to do something for that team. I think the Pepperdine game is what I've been told.
Oh,
not official yet, but yeah, it's like 25 years. Holy smokes. So yeah, I'm just the radio guy. I guess I look like I don't know. Dusty looks like me, whatever you want to describe it. Possibly. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to take a closer look.
yeah, I guess. But that's a preview for Maui. Thanks for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, McGilvery Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, and HDG Architecture. Tune in next week. We'll have a episode probably later after Maui when we get back, and we'll talk about, either really good, really bad, or in the middle. Hopefully it is and hopefully it's successful tournament. There, I got it out. But thanks for listening.